Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ryan and I would appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below. Today I got my Ancestry DNA results in my email and I'd like to check that out with you. But first, I want to give you a prediction of what I think it might be. Now, I may be mistaken, but I think the way this works is they have samples of different people that have stayed in a region for a long time. And then they compare your results to those results to see kind of where you fit in with all of their like master DNA realms or whatever you'd want to call it. That's how I think it works. I could be mistaken. So that being said, someone who is roughly half European and half North American Indigenous, including Mexican Indigenous, I would think that I would have similar populations to maybe someone in England. Reason being is the Germanic tribes migrated from continental Germanic tribal territories, moved into the English Isles, and probably mixed in with the Celtic people there genetically. So if I have Scottish and Irish and German, when all of those mix, they might create someone that looks more similar to somebody who is of English descent, even though we are not English. But genetically, we might be matching them. So I think I'm going to get English DNA. And because I'm mixed with Spanish as well as Indigenous, I think I might get markers for maybe central Mexico or northern Mexico, even though a lot of my blood does come from north of the border into United States Indigenous tribes. So we'll see. But I think my European genetics and my Spanish genetics as well might influence it, and maybe I will look more Mexican Indigenous on my DNA test. So that's what I'm thinking, but let's go ahead and open this up and see what it really says. I guess we'll start by looking at the ancestral regions, which is 25% France, 23% Spain, 22% Scotland, 19% Indigenous Americas or Mexico. I wonder if that includes the Pueblos, because we are largely Pueblo as well as Mexican Indigenous. Okay, yeah, the Zunis. So this does include both the Mexica Aztecs and the Hopi, Zuni, and other Pueblos. So this seems to match, because we have indigenous blood from Mexico City, from Torreon, and from a lot of the Tewa villages up here. It didn't get any of my other North American Indigenous DNA, but again, that's not surprising because I think I would match this a little bit better because I have Spanish blood mixed in with me as well. France makes sense because my grandma is 100% Canadian French. Basque, I probably got that from the Spanish side. Portugal, I probably got that from the Spanish side. England and Northwestern Europe makes sense, like I said, because of the mixing of the Germanic and the Celtic blood. Senegal, don't even know what that is, 1%. And the Western Bantu peoples, I also don't know what that is, but I imagine I get that from my mom's side, maybe about four generations ahead of me, or behind me, I guess, whatever you'd say, my fourth great grandma or whatever. So that's interesting. It's interesting that even though we have a German last name, we have significant amount of cultural heritage amongst the Pennsylvania Dutch, the Germans. It didn't show up here. I honestly thought I would get much less indigenous blood and much more English or Germanic blood, but I have nothing coming from Germany over here, you see? There's nothing coming from Germany, not even a little bit. My ancestors came from this region, like around the Rhineland, but it's not showing up, so that's crazy. The French are a Germanic speaking peoples, though. They come from the Frank tribe. But they're mixed in with the indigenous Gallic people here. They're mixed in with the Roman people that came up. So France is such a melting pot of genetics, probably just about as much as Spain, because you get people coming in from Morocco and North Africa, but you also have the Celtic tribes or the Gallic tribes that used to live here, and then you also had Germanic tribes like the Suebi that moved into about this region of Spain. So both France and Spain are very genetically diverse, compared to something like northern Germany maybe, or Scandinavia, which is a little bit less genetically diverse than these countries down here. So I'm not surprised. And we do have a lot of Scottish ancestry because basically all of my Pennsylvania Dutch or Pennsylvania German grandfathers married either Irish or Scottish women. They liked their Celtic women. And so that's why I think a lot of this DNA is coming in from here. So even though they were culturally German American, it makes sense that there's a lot of Scottish ancestry here. And then of course Spain from my mom's side, because she's a mix of Mexican Indigenous and Spanish, as well as German. And then of course France, because my grandma is 100% Canadian French. But that's interesting. It's interesting to see how different your genetics can be from the country that you call your ancestral homeland. Because like I said, it doesn't care about what nationality you think you are. The genetics kind of go past that. Now, does this mean I'm Scottish, or does this mean I'm whatever? Genetically, yeah, maybe, but culturally, not so much. Culturally, the family was very German American, which makes sense because my grandpa is Pennsylvania Dutch. Now, when he left the homestead and he left the farm and he left Pennsylvania and moved across the country, he did assimilate the family into more of an English American lifestyle. But this just goes to show you that genetics don't always equate to the culture that you inherited upon birth. However, it does tell the story of who married who and how the culture that you were born into today was created. This is the story of you, and that's awesome. This is the story of me, and I'm glad I did it, and I'm happy to share with you guys. Anyways, I didn't really know how to make a good video about this. I just kind of wanted to document it for my own family archives. It's not the most entertaining video, and I apologize about that. I will continue making more videos related to my philosophy on spirituality or my philosophy on life, maybe record some of my journey, because first and foremost, I like archiving stories, and my story is important because I'm going to have descendants one day that would like to hear these stories. And so preserving these things, talking to the elders of my family, recording the elders, recording the stories, it's very important to me. And I want to record my story too. And I'm really grateful that YouTube gives me the opportunity to record these and upload them. Of course, you always need to keep the important stories backed up on SD drives or any other place you can, if not multiple places. Put them in fireproof containers, so on and so forth, to make sure that these treasures and these family heirlooms of our stories and our pictures and other things that may be more valuable than material heirlooms get passed down and preserved for future generations. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.